What's up, Andreas? I just I just woke back up. What's up, the meme guy? Oh, long time no see. Yeah, that's that's pretty much what I did, Andreas. Except double that, double that, triple that, and you'll get where I'm at. Sometimes you gotta take a nap. Sometimes you gotta do nothing in a world that wants you to do everything. Hey, Matt, am I good? Yeah, I guess it doesn't get any better than this. Yeah, I'm all right. I think everything's getting better. What's going on with you, the meme guy? Yeah, I'm not really addicted to smoking, and I only do it just to like keep myself gravitated, keep myself up. Yeah, I feel like maybe smoking now. Are you gonna stay on here, Matt the Visionary? If you're gonna take a jog, then a walk. Oh, shit. Andreas, how's the non-smoking going? If anyone has any questions, post them down below. We'll be on here for an hour. I've smoked 3 cigarettes today. Well, I guess you got a couple more to go. Day's not over yet. The day is not over yet. That's for sure. If anyone has any questions. Yeah, I meant to come on like earlier, but that's okay. That's okay. And when the day is over, is it ever really over? Because then another day just comes. What's going on? Brianna? We just started this live. If anyone has any questions, post them down below. Maybe because you smoke? Is that why your body temperature falls down? Hey, the critic. Are you, I guess you on East Coast time, critic? And do the people up there, because you pretty much live in the mountains. Do the people up there, do they have an accent? Do they have an accent up there, critic? Well, notice when your body drops like temperature. I mean, it's pretty hot over there, so why would your body be getting cold? Can I get a shout out on your next video? Yeah, if I remember. I have videos. I have videos up until like January 16th. They're already uploaded. I haven't even really been shooting videos, to be honest. I've been doing like YouTube shorts. Yeah, I've been doing YouTube shorts, so I haven't been doing longer videos. Thanks for everyone for coming by. God bless everyone. If you have any questions, post them down below. My question for you guys, what are the royal bloodlines? Do we know this one? What are the royal bloodlines? No one knows that. That's probably a longer answer anyway. No, I didn't. I didn't forget critic. How could I? If anyone knows what the royal bloodlines are, I like to put my hair up in two, but the one is always bigger than the other one, so I don't have enough hair for the other one. Let's start this. I'm a little late today, so if anyone has any questions, post them down below. You can do anything if you set your mind to it. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. It's the foundation of building anything. Because the foundation to build anything in your life is to go after it and have complete devotion. So it doesn't matter who it is, they've had to go at it non-stop. So if it's Justin Bieber, if it's Eminem, someone who plays baseball, basketball, even the president, they had to go at it non-stop. So that is the foundation. It doesn't matter what you do. Because you can do anything. Even a corn star, they don't just have sex once and then become a corn star. They repeatedly have sex. No one just gets to where they want to be after doing it one time. My head looks small today. If anyone has any questions, somebody who's plays a video game, they don't just become good at it one time. They don't just play it one time. They play it over and over and over. So then it brings the question, what is perfection? Perfection is basically doing something over and over and over till you get it how you like and become flawless. If anyone has any questions, post them down below. God bless everybody. I'm happy to be here. Most people aren't happy because it's a very simple fact, and you can see this. It's because they can't relax. Actually relax, which doesn't mean you need to do anything. You don't need to be at a spa. You don't need to be on vacation to relax. You don't need to watch TV to relax or play a video game or even have sex. If once in a blue moon you do that to relax, that's fine. But we shouldn't need anything, any stimulation to relax. Because then are you really relaxing? Or are you just being so stimulated that you forget you're supposed to be relaxing? So the problem with most people, why they're not happy, is because they never sit still. Most of the time, wow, that's so good. Native Americans, when the children is ready, they teach their children nature, and they teach them to sit still. So they have some sense of stillness. Therefore, they'll be more happy. Where the children in societies and civilization, we're not taught to sit still. We're given video games, We're always giving stuff, especially parents. They just want to distract the children, stimulate, stimulate, stimulate. There's nothing wrong with distracting your children, but the TV, it's so fast paced. Video games, so fast paced. This children then gets, they'll develop a attention disorder, which is one of the worst. Because if you can't pay attention, then you don't know what's going on. When we think about Mother Nature or just nature, well, how do you know it? You go in it and you sit still. You can stand too. But Mother Nature in of itself, in all creatures, they all have stillness, complete stillness. In fact, they're never out of it. So the only way to know Mother Nature, even a little bit, we have to get on the level of Mother Nature, which is stillness. That's how we get to know it. Even if it's just a little bit, usually people have a little bit. The difference between a tree and a dog versus a human is that we can be aware of our stillness. A dog cannot be aware of itself. That's why they say we came here on, that's why we separated from God, because God can't experience himself. So he has to create something, a diversion of itself to see itself. It is confusing in a way, for sure. But all is good. People are like, why do you ring the bell? So you can pay attention to the bell, not who's swinging it, not the kind of sound it makes, though that's kind of a part. It's just to listen, not describing it, purely listen. We're not trying to identify anything. The only reason we identify something is to relate it to someone else, if we have to. Just think about, what if we just seen an animal that popped out of the wild that we never seen before? It could be like a dragon, but we don't have a word for it. So we just look at it. We're in shock. The, we're speechless, breathless. It takes our breath away. But being in this shock state, you have no thoughts. But people aren't aware because it happens so fast. It's always happening. Some people have it longer, and some people have ADHD. There's a bunch of words to it, but I'm just giving you something to rely on. But there's a split second where there's no thought. There's a thought maybe coming in, but it hasn't came. So this is why when people travel, this is a big thing. In going to new places, it's very shocking to the system. So people just get bewildered as if they've seen a monster or something scary. They froze. And in this moment, there's nothing on their mind. But when they go in the future or moments later, they have to describe it, but they forget that they weren't aware. That's the only way to really put it. They weren't aware of no thoughts. Though they were shocked and had no thoughts, they were so shocked. This is the problem. Most people just aren't aware. So they follow their thoughts around as if they matter. Your thoughts change all the time, and then they come back to the same thing over and over and over. People were taught to pay attention to the same thing, and more so our thoughts. Especially when you do the same thing every day, you become, like a robot, and it becomes monotonous. This is why when people, this is what nostalgia is. The true form of nostalgia. People will be like, oh yeah, do you remember that time we were at this party? Or when we were kids and we were doing this? And especially when you're younger, this is why people, if you ever notice older people, they're not creating memories. They're just always talk about the past. A lot of times. But children and younger people, you always hear about nostalgia. I wish I could go back to when I was a kid. But the main point of that is you're still in the body of the same place you were before. And the reason you have the nostalgia, the real fundamental reason, is because when you were in the moment, you weren't thinking. So later on, years later, when you try to go back to the moment, there's nothing to go back to because you weren't thinking. You were like, "Oh yeah, I felt so good." That's really what nostalgia is. You felt so good. That's what it is. But people, th- there's nothing to connect it with other than observing that's what was going on. But they aren't aware. So they have to, yeah, I can tell you a story, but the reason you don't have the nostalgia, which you could have it right now, as in you can become how you were when you were a kid or a toddler, you weren't thinking, you were just playing. It's so alive. When you weren't thinking, you become alive. You become electric. All these Hindu terms, Buddhist terms, even the Jesus in the Bible, all them words really mean nothing. How many people are confused because of all these words? Again, words are just to relate to somebody else. Purely. When we become into the present moment, we're not thinking about words. We're not thinking about the past. When people want to see parts of their past life, you have to be at a state where there's nothing going on in your brain. That's how you see your past life. Also, your past life is playing out right for you. Like literally. Though we don't have to identify, oh, I ran into this person because this was part of my past life. Everything realistically is playing out from the past. And I'm talking not just this life, other lives. Yeah. Which is real deep, but it's also simple in a way. If anyone has any questions, the thing about like some people is they're so caught up in the past. Did you ever see somebody they're gonna have to be older, but all they do is talk about the past. And then it can kind of be boring because you're not making a memory. You're not living for now. They're just talking and talking about something that happened before. And you're not creating anything now. So you can definitely find this boring, or this can lead you to boredom. I know when people I know when people talk about the past, like all the time, every time you see them, it's just kind of like they're stuck. They're stuck in the past. And then it's just like, eventually, to me, you just don't, you don't want to be talking about the past all the time. It's stale. Also, people who talk about the past, they'll probably be a hoarder. So they'll have if you ever go into their house, they'll have a whole bunch of shit. Like a whole bunch of stuff. Even the feeling of the place will have this past. It will have this residue. As if all they have is the past. And they can't create some memory now. They can't go to a concert now. And there's nothing wrong with collecting items and having a bunch of items for that sake. But you have so many items, you can't even keep track. You don't even think. You don't even use them. For that person, it becomes like a clutter. Does anyone have any questions? If you have any, post them down below. What we really need to do is next time we look at something. So I'll paint a picture. Maybe you're on a balcony and you're in the woods. You're high up, sitting on a nice balcony. Have a beautiful image of these woods. And just look. Just, if something, you want to concentrate on one thing, just look and stay looking. And see if you can just look. For a while. See how it feels. Don't try to name or identify anything. Just stand there and look. we're trying to not think. And we want to become aware of when we're not thinking. Because once we become aware, then we can bring that into other parts of our life and do it more often. So why most people are unhappy is because they think too much. 99% of the world. If anybody has any questions, so if you have any questions, post them down below. When I was younger, which we all pretty much have a similar thing, but more so, even when up until my body got messed up when I was 21, I was happy. To look back on it, I was probably one of the most happiest people in the world. Now, that doesn't really matter, that part, what I just said. But I was happy. I didn't analyze why I was happy. I just went after what I wanted to do and felt most of the time. But and I was happy pretty much 95% of the time. Now, but I didn't analyze it. Now, looking back on it, the reason why I was happy all that time, you could say good karma for the most part, but even so, I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking. That's simply why I was happy. As soon as you stop thinking, as if you made it your number one goal, you feel absolutely, utterly amazing. It's unbelievable. You can't even describe it. But Jesus tries to describe it. All these biblical texts try to describe it. You can't. Because it's a non-thinking state. It's a feeling. It's not an emotion. It's actually above emotions. And the only way to feel it would be an experience. So the reason why I now see why before I was so happy was 9 times out of 10 I wasn't thinking. But of course I wasn't aware back then. If anyone has any questions, post them down below. I didn't get to go on as early as I wanted to. So, I understand if some people aren't in here. The, the stranger thing is, when you are aware, you're not going to be, oh, I'm aware. When you actually are aware, it's not until you're out of the awareness that you can recollect and think about it, which is more of an obstruction. So let's just say you do fall into awareness. Let's say you fall into an enlightenment. You're not thinking. So you don't even know that you're in this state because you cannot even conceive it. You'll feel it. You'll feel it and be like there's nothing on my mind right now. But I can't think about the state. That doesn't put me into it. And this is why words are confusing. I can tell you go fish, go get a rod, get some bait, use your goddamn bare hands. But until you actually go and do the actions and go get some fish, if you've never fished before or you don't know how, never even heard of it, you're not going to know what to do. Well, we got about 10 minutes left. If anyone has any questions, post them down below. I have some fish I'm about to eat. Yeah, I have to get all the flesh out of the fish, so that's probably what I'm gonna do after this. So let's talk about the ego real quick. Being in your mind for too long, even just a split second, it's all about itself. So if somebody's all about themselves all the time, that's just the natural ego. The ego likes to self-preserve itself because it doesn't know the whole. It doesn't know infinity. When you stop thinking, you become infinity. This is a timeless zone. So someone that's stuck in the ego, which is thinking all the time, they also get self-preserved. Everything's about them. They also have a tendency of anything, like being judgmental. This is why when people are stuck in ego, they're like, they always have to prove something. They're fearful, very fearful, even though they might not show it on the outside. A lot of famous people, whether it's basketball players or even rich people, they don't care about other people. And I don't have no words for it right now. That's okay, because we're about to end. Just again, the ego likes to think about itself. It doesn't care. Bill Gates doesn't care about most people because he's stuck in the head. Same thing with Jeff Bezos. He's stuck in the head majority of the time. This is why his mind is telling him self-preserve, self-preserve. I want more. Oh, I got $1 billion? Mind tells him, I want more. This is what I actually wanted to say. So, when you stop thinking, light illuminates out of your body. When you stop thinking, when you're thinking, stuff as Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and most people, it creates a dark cloud. So the light can't come in, nor can the light go out. Because your thoughts are creating this wall. It's the only thing. So people become dark. It's all about the self-preservance. It's only me, survival of the fittest. Because thinking doesn't allow, it's dark in its nature. So all evil comes from clouded thinking. The veil, when people talk about the veil, it's a covering. The ego is just a mask. We can change what we really like and don't like. More so, we can change and manipulate our personality. So these evil tendencies come from being too self-involved. Go see an evil person. They're going to be very fearful. The ones that torture and stuff. And they're going to hate. They're not going to have these light qualities. And light in itself is not just physical light. It's actually a physical embodiment. So when you get enlightened, you feel as almost you're outside of the body. Or you're not even walking. You're more so floating. When you have thoughts, they become, and you know this, and then they weigh you down, literally. So they have weight. They actually do weigh you down. And you become heavy. Heavy. And this is why some people feel stressed. Stress. The emotion is literally heavy in itself. It doesn't matter what it is. The emotion can be so, or thought can be so heavy in itself that it dissipates your energy. I'm actually making a video. I forget what I was gonna word it, but now all my notes got deleted for the second time. I don't usually even go back to them, but I had over 100 to 200 things of ideas and topics I wanted to hit. Regardless, one of them is going to be what I came of last night. How the spiritual world works. Okay. Masterclass, not for beginners. I'm glad I remembered that at the end of this video. But that's pretty much all. We're at like 1 hour exactly. Tomorrow I'll be on at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. God bless everybody that came in here. God bless the whole world. Hope many fortunes come your way. And just remember to observe. Go somewhere and just look. You can do that as a practice. Every day. I'll be back. God bless everybody.